In this video, we are going to be looking at portals within RemNote and how we can use portals to help us organize our thoughts as we are memorizing the Bible. So if we go back over to memorizing Galatians, we saw in the last video that we have 24 verses within chapter 1. And if we are trying to study a particular verse as we memorize it, we might decide we want to write down our thoughts to help us process the verse, think about what it means, in order to help us remember it. And if we were to do that, we could make a sub rem or a rem, child rem underneath verse 1 and type in our thoughts. Now, this gets a little bit messy because we start ending up with a whole bunch of open and closing menus, if you like, or open and closing drop downs underneath each verse. And if they're not all closed, it just makes it look a bit cluttered and a little bit messy. Another way we can do this, instead of making sub or child rem, is we can actually use portals. Now, what portals enable us to do is to see a particular rem or multiple rem in multiple locations. So if we open up a new document, Notes on Bible Memory, we can actually create a portal to Galatians chapter 1, verse 1. The way we're going to do that is open up a portal by pressing the open bracket twice, and a search box will appear. Now, in order to find the verse, we're going to type in Galatians. We're going to navigate down to memorizing Galatians, because that is where all our verses are found, but we are not going to click on it, we're going to press tab. Then you can see all of the sections within memorizing Galatians, and we're going to press tab on chapter 1. And what this is doing is this is showing us a context search. So we searched everywhere within our knowledge base. We refined it to memorizing Galatians. We refined that to chapter 1. Now we're going to click on verse 1. And we insert verse 1. Once we've inserted verse 1, we can make notes underneath it without affecting verse 1 at all. So we can write notes on verse 1. And maybe we say, what is, I'll remember to under here, what is an apostle? And we might have an answer. And then we might do another question as well. What does it mean when it says not from men, nor through men? Okay, and we can write down all of our notes on verse 1, but if we go back to our memorizing Galatians, it's not there. It's not interfering with our flow of reading through the passage, but we can still access it. This number 1 over here indicates that this verse or this rem has been shown in another place within our knowledge base. If we click on the 1, it'll show us there is a portal to Notes on Bible Memory. And we open it and we can see verse 1. It is very important to say at this point, any notation you make on verse 1 here will appear in the original verse. So if I highlight apostle, let's highlight it yellow, and I highlight the words not and nor in red as I'm trying to understand the verse, if I highlight those things, when I go back to memorizing Galatians, those highlights will be there. Now, if you're okay with that, that's fine, but just be aware not to change the text, because if you change the actual words, you will be affecting the flashcards and what you're memorizing. So that is both a benefit and a potential issue. So try not to edit the text in here. But we can keep notes underneath that are not going to interfere with the flow of the passage. And once we're done, we can introduce another portal. Now, there are multiple ways of bringing in portals. One way is doing the open bracket twice. Another way is pressing Control-I. And again, we're going to do a contextual search. Memorizing Galatians, press Tab rather than clicking on it. We're going to go chapter 1, press Tab. And we're going to choose verse 2 this time. Press Enter. And again, we've got verse 2 and we can type notes on verse 2. And so on. And we can keep going the third way that we could import a portal. So we've seen open bracket or two open brackets. We've seen control I. And third way is /portal. And rem in portal. And we can then again do a contextual search. But press tab rather than press enter like I did there. If you press enter and you incorporate it to higher level, you can open it up and you can actually select all these rem /hide. Hide from document, and we can only see chapter 1. And if we open chapter 1, we can do the same for all the verses that we're not particularly interested in. Seeing in this portal /hide, and again, we can do it to get rid of verses 1 and 2 because they're already visible above /hide. Okay. The difference with doing it this way is we see the complete hierarchy. So memorizing Galatians chapter 1, verse 3, and then we could make notes underneath it. Okay, that brings us to the end of this video. In the next video, we'll be looking at different approaches that we can use to marking up our text within RemNote.